Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is that time again, and we are reading Leviticus chapter 18. I forgot my glasses again, but we're going to jump right into it. We're reading Leviticus chapter 18, talking about sexual morality, being moral sexually. Chapter 18, verse 1. And again, reminding this is the Lord speaking. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy is the foundation of the Bible. This is the Lord speaking. And the Lord said to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, I am the Lord your God. I like to say he is Adonai, my Elohim, but we're talking about the same thing. Verse 3, according to the doings of the land of Egypt, where you dwell, you shall not do them. And I was going to read a different version today. I want to make it real plain. I studied this in a couple different versions, so bear with me while I switch it here. I'm going to go to King James, the complete Jewish Bible version. So bear with me. I want to make sure we get real clear what he is saying here. Sometimes those these and thous kind of mix stuff up. We don't make sure we all on the same page. There we go. All right. And Adonai said to Moses, speak to the children of Israel and tell them, I am Adonai your God, or Elohim. You are not to engage. See how that reads differently? You are not to engage in the activities found in the land of Egypt, where you used to live. You are not to engage in the activities found in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you. When I was reading this, I think about the New Testament scriptures that talk about we are in this world, but we are not of this world. Goes on to say, where I am bringing you, nor are you to live by their laws. We're going to get through this, but I just have to stop and take a moment and say, Canaan had laws. The other nations had laws. The children of Israel, Hebrew, however you want to look at it, we are not the only ones who have laws, but they had laws as well. Verse 4, it says, you are to obey my rulings and laws and live accordingly. Why? I am Adonai, your God. You are to observe my laws and rulings. If a person does them, he will have life through them. I am Adonai. Verse 6, none of you are to approach anyone who is a close relative in order to have sexual relations. Why? I am Adonai. You are not to have sexual relations with your father. You are not to have sexual relations with your mother. She is your mother. Do not have sexual relations with her. You are not to have sexual relations with your father's wife. That is your father's prerogative. You are not to have sexual relations with your sister, the daughter of your father, or the daughter of your mother, whether born at home or elsewhere. Do not have sexual relations with them. You are not to have sexual relations with your son's daughter or with your daughter's daughter. Do not have sexual relations with them because their sexual disgrace will be your own. You are not to have sexual relations with your father's wife, daughter born of your father, because she is your sister. Do not have sexual relations with her. You are not to have sexual relations with your father's sister because she is your father's close relative. You are not to have sexual relations with your mother's sister because she is your mother's close relative. You are not to disgrace your father's brother by having sexual relations with his wife because she is your aunt. You are not to have sexual relations with your daughter in law because she is your son's wife. Do not have sexual relations with her. You are not to have sexual relations with your brother's wife because she is your brother's prerogative. You are not to have sexual relations with both a woman and her daughter. So that goes with those, trios and all that stuff? None of that. Nor you are to have sexual relations with your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter. They are close relatives of hers, and it would be shameful You are not to take a woman to be a rival with her sister and have sexual relations with her while her sister is still alive. You are not to approach a woman in order to have sexual relations with her when she is unclean from her time of nida or on her cycle. You are not to go to bed with your neighbor's wife and thus become unclean with her. You are not to let any of your children be sacrificed to Mokila, which is a god of that nation of the nation of that time, excuse me, thereby profaning the name of your God. Why? Because I am Adonai, which means Lord. You are not to go to bed with a man as with a woman. It is an abomination. You are not to have sexual relations with any kind of animal and thus become unclean with it. Nor is any woman to present herself to an animal to have sexual relations with it. It is perversion. Do not make yourselves unclean by any of these things, because all the nations which I am expelling ahead of you are defiled with them. The world are defiled with these sexual immoralities. Verse 25, the land has become unclean, and this is why I am punishing it. The land itself will vomit out its inhabitants. But, but, but you are to keep my laws and rulings and not engage in any of these disgusting practices, neither the citizens nor the foreigner living with you. So if you're living with me, don't get down like this. Verse 27, for the people of the land have committed all these abominations. Everything listed before verse 24, they did all of them, even with the animals. And the land is now defiled. If you make the land unclean, it will vomit you out as well. It says too, but I like as well. Just it says as well. Just as it is vomiting out the nation that was there before you. For those who engage in any of these disgusting practices, whoever they may be, will be cut off from their people. So, again, keep my charge, not to follow any of these abominable customs that others before you have followed, and thus defile yourselves by doing them. Excuse me, again, why? Because I am Adonai, your Elohim. I'm just the messenger. That's the last verse. That was verse 30. And I'm telling you, each and every one of those, I actually know someone personally. I used to work at a hospital, and one of my clients years ago would he was there because they lived on a farm, and he had sexual relations with their horse. So don't think it's far-fetched. We've seen where a man comes home from prison and marries his daughter. We've seen that this year or 2017. We've seen these things. So please do not act like this is some far-fetched idea. I know personally people who dad has slept with their sons' girlfriends and wives and stuff like that. I know these things personally. And if you're honest, you do too. But the fact of the matter is, he said, you're not like them. We are a peculiar people. We are in this world, but we are not of this world. Remember that. This is relationship. And if you're in relationship with him, as he kept saying over and over and over, I am Adonai, I am your God. If that's true, then do not act like the Canaanites. Do not act like the people that in the nations that are around you. Act like me. That's what he's saying. Act like me. I love you. And I'm not sure what's going on Facebook. It should be showing my Bible, but it's not. So I do apologize for that. Y'all have a great day. I'm out of here. That's weird. Peace out, YouTube.